line looks good.
Good. We gotta get a clap here in a minute.
I'll give you some clap.
Hey guys, this is Hunter. Hey guys, this is Mixed Reviews. I'm Hunter. This is James.
And I'm James.
Yes, you are. And we're here today to talk about
Avengers Endgame. I need to probably stay closer to my mic, but yeah.
Yeah, it was the Endgame.
It was the last movie, and I think it's Disney's last movie. It's their Endgame, because after this they have to go back to Star Wars, and you know.
We have a whole new trilogy by Rian Johnson, who didn't completely ruin the new trilogy or anything.
Yeah, but yeah, that's coming up. So, but we won't talk about any of that. We have to talk about the biggest movie, and it's probably going to be one of the biggest movies in cinema history.
It's more than likely going to overtake Avatar for
It
gross
just
sales.
overtook Titanic, right? Yeah. Is Avatar first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's crazy.
We're getting there.
But yes, so we're just gonna give our thoughts on it. It's probably a little late. The movie's been out for a while, but because of how much money it's making, it's gonna be out for a while.
The spoiler ban was lifted yesterday, so I mean,
there will be
now
some
we can
spoilers.
spoil this movie, and we're not gonna tag it because you should have seen it by now.
We'll probably tag it, or
Yeah.
you will. So yeah. Directed by the Russo brothers.
I guess I really don't know anything about the production of this.
I just don't care anything about the production.
There's too many Marvel movies for me to keep up with who makes them.
Are we really loud?
I don't care.
Let's pause and listen to it for a second.
No, guys, if we're loud, I'll adjust it later. Promise.
Can you adjust it later?
Pinky swear, yes, I can.
Okay, cool. Okay, never mind. But yeah, it's done by the Russo brothers. They did something.
They've done a lot of some things, I think.
Yeah. They're probably some yes men. They're told to do this and they'll do that. But seeing this, I guess they're somewhat competent. But we're going to talk about if you should watch this movie. If this is worth 3 hours of your time, 12 of your dollars, around there. And Hunter, what were your initial thoughts on the movie? Well, first, let's see. Did you like Infinity War?
Yes, I did. I enjoyed Infinity
Were
War
you
quite a bit.
super excited for this?
I was wonderfully excited for Endgame. I wasn't chomping at the bit for a year because it's hard to keep excitement built for a year. But I was very excited, and I intended to see it on opening night. I unfortunately couldn't make it, but I saw it, I believe, 2 days after.
What were we doing opening night?
I think I had a birthday or something, or I had some kind of thing. I had to be in.
I was probably working or something, but yeah.
But we saw it. I saw it one night before James did.
Yeah.
And, well, I
So
like
what
you
did
said,
you
I was
think
excited.
of Endgame?
I was going into Endgame with a lot of excitement. I had psyched myself back up for the finale of, I believe it's Phase 3 in the MCU.
I thought it was 1, but I don't know.
I don't know anymore. But disregarding all of that, Endgame was good. Endgame ended this build-up in good fashion. It did so with a lot of fun, sad, and comedic moments. What about you, James?
Hunter knows I'm not the biggest comic book film fan. I've enjoyed some of them. I've seen several of them. I love Iron Man. I think that's actually a really good movie in itself. But I've just never kept up with him. I've seen a lot of them, but I just never kept up with him, cared about him too much. But I went into this one pretty excited because I really enjoyed Infinity War. I really enjoyed the character Thanos. I know he'd be making a return in this. But what I thought of the movie was it had some good and it had some not so great. But yeah, that's my initial impressions. I guess we could start off with how the movie starts. Like it starts off kind of a somber tone. We've just seen what's happening in Infinity War. If you haven't seen Infinity War, spoilers for that, I guess. But Thanos snaps with the gauntlet, wipes out half of
all living life.
In the universe, or
yes,
it's in the universe.
Now here's immediately I want to get into. I don't even know if it's a plot hole or if it's just some weird continuity error between the two films. If I'm not mistaken, in Infinity War, Thanos' whole point to wiping out half the universe is to wipe out the consumers, like the sentient beings who
It's
overconsume resources.
It's
right?
about resources. What is partially what he said.
Well, here's the problem:
resources
the
of war and fighting. So
the Russo brothers came out and said that he wiped out half of all living beings, not just sentient beings. So that meant the plant life and the animal life as well, which doesn't alleviate the problem of there's too many consumers.
thing is, I feel like I remember in Infinity War he didn't say all living life, but in this movie it makes a point to say that a few times. All living life.
Maybe too many people thought what Thanos was doing was a good idea, so the Russo brothers had to poke a hole in it. But I don't know. I don't know if that was intentional, if they really meant that, because it's not in a movie. And if it's
I don't
not
want to
in a
give him
movie,
that much credit. I don't. I think it was a screw up, probably. But I mean, it's.
But if that's true, then it takes away the entire point.
There's
of his
so
arc.
much you can nitpick in this movie.
But that's yeah. Anyways, yes, Thanos snapped at the end of Infinity War. Half of all living life is gone, and we pick up from there. And then I don't know, some short amount of time into the movie, maybe 20 minutes, where you have a 5-year jump. So life has moved on in Endgame, and we see how the Avengers, or what's left of them, are coping and what they're doing to mitigate the loss.
And now we will go into spoilers because there's not much you can talk about. We'll go if you don't want to watch the rest. I would say go watch the movie. It's one of the biggest cinematic events in history. Be a part of it if you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's very entertaining, especially the latter half. But like I said, now we're gonna get into spoilers. And like Hunter was saying, it's a lot of the beginning is them coping with this situation, but they end up figuring out. Like they originally tried to get the stones back to try to reverse this.
Yes,
But-
they track Thanos down to some garden planet.
He was called the Garden. Yeah,
He called it the Garden. And they track him down to the planet to retrieve the stones, only to find Farmer Thanos, who was really cool, by the way.
for the 5 or
Minutes he
maybe
lived.
3 minutes he was in there.
But it turns out Farmer Thanos had used the stones to destroy the stones, which, if the Avengers had any common sense, that's probably what he would have done to begin with, because he made it very clear he was going to use the stones for this purpose, and then he would basically retire.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason he would keep them. So I mean, you want them to be a little smarter than they are, but they have to do something. If they're too smart, there's nothing. They would also realize there's probably nothing to do.
It did give us Thor chopping Thanos' head off finally.
Which is cool.
Good scene. I like, he said, I went for the head, and it was nice.
That one.
I liked it. Because Thor's broken and really upset about everything.
Yeah, but I went for the head. Okay, we get it. I watched the first movie. Did you? Yeah, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But I honestly had, because I don't care about this movie, I had actually heard spoilers before I went into it, and I heard about him getting his head chopped off, and I was like, well, why? That just doesn't make sense for the Avengers to go there and kill him like that. So it just seems kind of dark for something like that. But when you see the scene, I think it's done pretty well. Like they obviously showed they didn't want to. They're kind of disappointed with Thor for what he did, but they understand like where he's coming from.
Thor didn't lose half. He lost 90%. Because Asgard has just recently been destroyed in a previous movie. And on top of that, the remaining half got wiped out.
And
so Asgard is actually reduced to a small fishing village in this movie.
well, that could be part of it, but also a big part of it is he could have killed Thanos in the first movie, but he didn't.
He's kind of the one to blame.
Yeah, if you want to blame anybody, I guess you could blame him, is basically what's going on in his mind. So it's just that small bit of redemption that he felt like he had in the moment, but it was very fleeting, as you'll see when you meet him about 5 years later. I think something like that.
He looks like me a little bit.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a beer gut, but we'll get to that a little bit later. But yeah, that's the idea. Is they try to get these stones back to reverse it, like the situation. They realize they're gone. So obviously, what's their next step? What else can they do?
Rebuild.
What? No, time travel.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was following the line of the movie, which was they just
No,
give up and
rebuild was before getting the stones. No, the stones was before the stones and then the 5-year gap. But I just already said the 5-year gap. After that. is time travel. So yeah, they go for time travel, and obviously that's all you really can do after you do an ending like they did in Infinity War.
To be fair, time travel didn't come about willy-nilly. It was Ant-Man making it out of the quantum realm, I believe it's called, and showing up on their doorstep.
Pretty willy nilly, but
It's not like Captain America was sitting alone brooding after talking to a gay guy. He was like, oh, time travel will do it.
it was pretty quick though. But you're right, it does make sense in the universe and in the storyline and stuff like that. But yeah, like you would guess, they have to go with time travel to try to reverse all this. And like a lot of the movies, it's them trying to get Tony to go along with the plan because they need a scientist. And probably the most intelligent would be Tony.
They've tried, obviously, I can't even remember Ant-Man's actual name, but he doesn't know enough about the actual science to get it to work. They got Banner.
I don't think anybody knows Ant-Man's real name.
I don't know. They got Banner, I think, after Tony said no the first time. And Banner kind of got it to work, but couldn't stop the actual time traveler from de-aging or extra aging, whichever way he was going in time. So Tony eventually has a breakthrough, figures out why they can't time travel.
You can tell it's been on his mind. Basically, the reason Tony doesn't want to is his family actually survived the snap.
He got
he's
lucky.
Like, well, you could say he's selfish for not trying to bring all these other people back, but I mean, it would be tough to try to make that risk when you know, like, it worked out this way. It probably won't work out if I try the other way.
He also does feel like a failure for not managing to stop Thanos because he also lost Peter. But he gained his daughter. And to him, he doesn't want to risk that, even if it means the chance to have it all back.
Yeah.
So it's not totally selfish in a bad way.
Yeah. But because the movie has to continue, he ends up joining up with him, and he kind of works out some of the kinks that they had in their first creation of the time machine kind of thing. And obviously, the movie's going to have a lot of, well, why don't they do this? How are they able to do that? It's time travel.
Very few movies, if really any, can do time travel well.
The ones that do time travel well don't focus on the finer details, honestly. It's a movie, you need to suspend at least some part of the belief, especially with a movie like this, a Marvel movie about superheroes with superpowers. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel like it was... I feel like they tried to keep it as... What's the word? Not grounded, but...
Logical.
Logical, sure, yeah. To keep it as logical as they could, and I feel like they did a fine job. I never found myself saying, like, why didn't they do this? Why did they do that? But it's not too bad. But one of my biggest complaints about the movie is the first maybe 15 to 20 minutes. I felt like did a good job of showing the somber tone that you're gonna have after a cataclysmic event like what happened in Infinity War. But that next hour and 45 minutes, I really struggled to get through. And I don't think it's because I'm not a Marvel movie fan. The pacing felt very sluggish. I don't feel like there was enough happening that I cared about or was interested in. I'm watching them try to figure out a solution that I know they're going to figure out the solution to. And I have to kind of go along with them. And I just really struggled through that part. And I'm not going to say I almost fell asleep. I was pretty awake, but I mean, there's no way I could do a midnight release of that movie. Ain't no way. I think I ended up watching it like 6:30. So
I enjoyed the majority of the movie. While James is right, the middle is very slow compared to the beginning and end of the film. The middle was just all the fan service. It was all the reunions. It was all the drama that a lot of fans wanted to see either completed or brought to the light. They had fun filming it, I feel like, and I felt that. I felt, it was enjoyable for them. And then we get to the end of Endgame, where things pick back up.
Yeah, I would say my favorite part was probably the last hour, maybe. Uh, Basically, what their goal is to go back in time to separate into teams and go back in time and get each stone and bring it back, make a new glove, which they can somehow do in this movie, but they never did in the other movie. But who cares? And to basically do a snap and reverse all this, bring that 50% back. And I had heard about that going into the movie, and I was pretty excited. It was like, oh, it's gonna be some cool adventures, but all of them were just so sporadically paced, and you would leave interesting areas to go back to areas you just don't care about and characters you just don't care about as much as the others. Like I don't know, the part with Nebula's area was just, I just didn't care. Nobody cares about Nebula. No, nobody cares about Nebula.
Yeah, like nobody. Nebula's,
I mean, she's a robot.
yeah.
She's worse than a robot. Like, the robots in these movies have been more interesting than a character like Nebula. And I just
And she played such a key role for being a character that nobody cared about.
She really did, and I struggle with it. Speaking of key roles, I'm really glad for the screen time that Captain Marvel got. I think it was adequate. I think
it was maybe too much. Maybe she took too much out of the film for everybody else.
Yeah, maybe so. She was in the spotlight a lot. I mean, it was a total of about 4 or 5 minutes.
Really, it should have been like 4 or 5 seconds for somebody who can suck all the fun out of a movie
Yeah,
by
I gotta
just
say,
appearing on screen.
She was pretty awful. She was there to say, I'm more powerful than you,
And then left.
and I'm doing more important things than you. And she came, she got a ship, she laid it down, and she left.
To equate this to something that's happened in real life, actually, Ryan Johnson had a great time making fun of all the people who were upset at his movie. He was like, this is how it's going to be. If you guys don't like it, then don't watch it, and you're man children. That's what Captain Marvel was to the Avengers after they lost everything.
Say that? Okay.
That's how Captain Marvel was. She's like, hey, Avengers, you're all man children. You suck. I could have saved you, but guess what? I was out doing something else that's much more important. But in reality, I was just blind to the fact that Thanos came back to Earth during Infinity War, and I didn't come help you.
Yeah, where was she this whole time?
I'll be honest, I haven't seen Captain Marvel. And no, it's not because it was boycotted
I'll
by
be
a bunch
honest,
of
I'm not
white
going to
men.
see Captain Marvel, but
I didn't do it because there was a boycott. I did it because
I heard it was bad.
Yeah, I heard it was bad, and I was like,
I mean, it didn't
I've
look
seen
great.
20 Marvel movies now. I can go without seeing Captain Marvel.
It's got to really stand out and like get me excited for me to want to watch it.
So maybe it explains why she's not in Infinity War.
And
if it
I'm
does,
sexist.
Yeah. If it does explain why she's not in Infinity War, please comment down below and tell me I'm a big white loser, and we'll be fine.
And I'll agree.
But barring that, yeah, she just
Yeah,
sucks.
I don't know why we got on that tangent, but yeah,
She sucks.
she sucks in this movie. Yeah, she's
I'm really
real
glad
bad.
she had as little screen time as she had.
Yeah, even the Russo brothers like, I don't know what to do with this character. They just kind of came out of nowhere and
It's hard to bring a god character
said, we
into
need
something.
you to have Captain Marvel in this movie. Crap. What do we do? Oh yeah, we don't have her in the movie. You know. But yeah, but going back, what were we talking about?
The end battle. We were getting to the
The
they
good
get the
half,
stones
the good
back.
half. But yeah, and none of that was real. I didn't really care for any of these adventures. I was excited to see them go back to some places that I've seen before. But they were just little snippets. They didn't explore these areas more than the past movies did. They said, "Oh, remember this place," and they left. I don't know. I feel like they could have done a little more with that instead of
Thor taking
other
other
stuff.
Thor's hammer from his time is hilarious, and
that was one of the better ones.
I
was
can't
him
help
seeing-
but imagine what that timeline's Thor was thinking when his hammer just left, because that's funny.
Thor's was one of the better ones. I mean, obviously, because it had Rocket Raccoon, whatever his name is.
Yeah, and he got to
Is
see
that his
his
name?
mom. I think so.
Something like that. And
you
he got to see his mom. Yeah, and
That's nice.
that was one of my favorite little parts they go to. And when they went back to New York, I was like, this is going to be awesome. And there were some good moments in that, but it just didn't... It had to go back to some of the boring ones.
Angry
I just
Hulk
didn't care
compared
about.
to Banner Hulk was fun.
It was strange, but I'm glad they did that for
Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. I think I think he's a great actor. I think he deserved more than what he got in the past few movies. He was either really quiet and secluded, or he was uh,
A raging CGI beast.
that can't talk. Yeah, that doesn't talk. And I'm glad they gave him a little bit more of a spotlight in this movie and actually time to act. You know, but but yeah, they do all that. They get all the stones.
And then immediately lose them.
Yeah, and
Actually, I guess they never lost them, but they were immediately attacked and couldn't use them.
yeah, and basically right then when they get them all back is when the fun begins. Thanos comes to Earth.
With the help of good and evil Nebula.
Yeah, yeah, that was all weird. And we get to just a really entertaining last battle for about 45 minutes to an hour of the rest of the movie. And that's when, I really had a good time. I feel like the Marvel movies, they've always done really well with their action where it feels like it has weight. I mean, obviously there's a character gets punched 20 times, but then that 21st punch is the one that actually hurts them. But I don't know. I feel like it's done pretty well for the most part, and I care about what's going on. And just the action of this movie was great. It was really cool to see them fight Thanos at maybe his more powerful, at least physical self.
Captain America getting the hammer was really cool. And
Yeah.
he, basically the entire time he held the hammer, I was just in awe. It was so fun.
Yeah, Ian was punching me in the shoulder the whole time. I was like, Ian, I know it's happening. It's great. But it really was cool, especially just remembering from, I guess, Age of Ultron, where you see him kind of lift it.
And Thor's
But I never really thought they'd do anything more than that. I thought it was just a little joke. But that was really cool. Seeing it swap, the axe and the hammer swap between
when Thor got his
Captain
hammer
America
back from the other timeline, I pretty much assumed that Captain America would fully lift it, but I didn't realize he was just going to start using it as his main weapon.
with the lightning and everything. Because, I guess as long as you can hold that hammer,
You're
can
the god
use
of thunder.
all the power
You
that it
are-
has. Yeah.
You're the god of thunder when you have Mjolnir.
Was just great seeing that whole fight scene between him and Thanos and Scarlet Witch. And there was even the moment where all the women get together, which was actually kind of really cool, really well handled.
Yeah.
It wasn't leftist propaganda or saying women are great, men are terrible. It's just a good, awesome moment for the women, and I thought it was
really
handled
well, yeah.
really well. I was
They
like,
got Spider-Man where he needed to get.
Why can't Captain Marvel be like this and just be fun and not a message or anything? But never mind. We're talking about
I don't want to give her any more audio
we're talking about Endgame, yeah. But yeah, just the last quarter, or not quarter, but maybe third was just really entertaining, and it really made up for that other half. But I will get to my last real complaint is, for me, not being a huge fan, I don't think I could watch this again. It's a chore being that long. I'd love to watch the last the last third, but I don't want to do it that way. I'd want to watch the whole movie again, and it just doesn't have replay value to me.
I will personally go back and watch it again after I've caught up on the few movies I haven't seen in the MCU, which for me is Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Guardians 2.
I need to see Guardians too.
I need to see those. I don't know why I haven't seen Ant-Man and the Wasp or Guardians 2. I think they just came out at times.
I know why, because I don't care.
I think they just came out in times that I was doing other things. But once I go back and watch those, then I'll actually go back and watch Endgame again to see if there's maybe something those movies did that I missed. Obviously, I know Ant-Man and the Wasp would have something to do with the Pym particles.
Yeah.
But all that being said, Endgame, overall, really good. Would you recommend people go see Endgame?
Definitely. It's, like I said, it's one of the biggest cinematic experiences ever. You need to be a part of it. Your kids are going to be asking, did you watch Endgame? You need to be able to tell them yes. But I gotta say, if you're not a huge fan, you're probably gonna struggle with that first half. But work through it. It's worth it. That last third was just so much fun. Definitely try to see it. I know this review is gonna be a little late, but for how much money, like I said, how much money it's making, it's gonna be out there for a little while longer. If you can't see it in theaters, get it on a big screen at your house. Get a good surround sound system. But it's a blast to watch in theaters, definitely.
I would definitely recommend Endgame. Just parrot everything James said. It's a huge release. You want to be able to say that you saw it in theaters. But yeah, that's Endgame. That's our review of Endgame. Thanks for watching, guys. I know it's been a little bit since we uploaded. Hopefully we can get to a regular schedule soon. And again,
What do you think our next movie is going to be?
I want to make it John Wick.
Yeah, it's going to be John
It's coming
Wick.
out soon.
When is that coming out?
17th?
Of May?
Like 10 days from now?
Yeah, it's going to be John Wick. Yeah.
I'm
stoked for that. One was great. 2, probably greater.
3 might be the best.
It just looks great. So yeah, it's going to be John Wick 3. Yeah. Hope you all are excited for that, because I am.
And then hopefully we're going to
That's going to be like one of the first few movies other than Thunder Road I actually care for. I guess I was excited for Us, but that blew.
Yeah, Us didn't. Hopefully, we also get our, I don't know what I want to call them, mini reviews, but our...
Did we ever put that other one up?
We never did the Creep review.
No, the other one that we have for Us and something else. No?
Oh, Thunder Road? Yeah, we put Thunder Road.
No, the Us one where we were sitting over there.
Holding our mics. Yeah, the microphones were awful.
Oh, yeah,
You'll never
really
get to
loud.
see that footage because I've deleted it
This
all.
one might be really loud. I don't know, but who cares?
It's all right.
We'll fix it.
But yeah, hopefully we'll get those going. And as always, if you have any suggestions for movies or other types of reviews you want to see us guys do, just leave a comment below and spread the word. Thanks, guys.
See ya.